two reasons, especially. One is because she joined. One is because of reason number two. And the reason number one is because she joined. She was invited to the panel that we had on Dhamma Day. Good evening to everyone from Aranya Bodhi, Awakening Forest Hermitage on the Dhamma course. Greetings to all.
And I'm bowing to my teacher, Ayya Phalañānī, and welcoming all of you to this special Uposatha program. A little bit later on, Ayya Phalañānī, who is the abbess at the Aneñja Vihara in Germany, will be joining us and speaking to us about the exalted states of mind. Within the theme for this Vassa of Cittānupassana, or mindful contemplation of the states of mind, we've been looking at the states which can be experienced in meditation. And this week we are turning towards the exalted states, the exalted states of mind, or the boundless states of mind. Ayya Phalañānī invited me to lead you in a guided meditation for the first hour, and then in the second hour should be given a Dhamma talk. Since the most common, by far the most frequent path to come to the boundless states of mind, both in modern times and in the earliest Buddhist text, is by way of the boundless loving kindness meditation, or the Brahma Vihara meditation on the exalted states of mind. So if everybody feels well with that, we'll go ahead very soon with that. I wanted to see whether at our Aneñja Bodhi Hermitage, you can see there's a big group of brown and white robed monastics at the yurt there at Aneñja Bodhi. Would you like to say a couple of words of welcome to the group, or should I just go straight ahead to the meditation? You need to be unmuted to give an answer. Oh.
Okay, thank you. That's good. Greetings to everyone from Dhammadharini's Aneñja Bodhi Awakening Forest Hermitage on the Sonoma Coast, and from all our monastic community here. I'd like to introduce you to who is here, if I can have tech support assistance. So here on my right hand, we have Ajahn Brahmawara Seminary. She's here with us for this Vassa and training in preparation for Bhikkhunī ordination. So now with this new moon, we are just 2 weeks away from the September full moon lunar anniversary, 2605th lunar anniversary of the founding of our international global Bhikkhunī Sangha. And this year, with Dhammadharini, in commemoration of this great anniversary, we've decided to offer Bhikkhunī ordination as well as seminary pabaja. And you'll be seeing in just a minute our Anagarika Tavira, who's been training with us for several years now, who's planning to request the seminary pabaja on September 19th. It's actually the eve of the full moon. And Ajahn Brahmawara is planning to request full Bhikkhuni ordination after 20 years in monastic life as a white-robed 8 precept renunciate for several years, and then the past 17 years as a 10 precept known in a Silatara form. And so I'm so happy for her that her heart's aspiration for Bhikkhuni ordination is the way is being paved and opened for her. And I appreciate everyone's great support for all of the facilities and all the loving kindness and moral support and all of the Dhamma support that's making that possible. And I'd like to also briefly introduce you here to Seminary Anuvedita. Seminary Anuvedita has also spent time with the 8 precepts, and then she received Seminary Papaja from Venerable Bhikkhunī Phalanyānī Therī, Ayya Phalañānī, at Aneñja Vihara in Germany. And Ayya Phalañānī is our speaker tonight. Ayya Phalañānī herself also was in the very first group to receive the dual Sangha Theravada Bhikkhuni ordination here in North America, here in this Dhammadana Sala yurt at Aranya Bodhi Hermitage in 2010. And so now 11 years later, then her student is here with us. They don't yet have a full quorum of bhikkhunis in Germany or bhikkhuni preceptors in Germany for giving bhikkhuni ordination. But within the next year or two, with, in part, I hope, with our support, then that will become possible. The European Sangha is going to be getting, we hope, we think, a big boost. So Seminary Anuvedita has come to us from Germany by way of Santi Janati in Costa Rica. Her father's family is from Costa Rica, and Santi Janati is a nascent Bhikkhuni Arama in Costa Rica. And so also we're supporting, giving our moral support and our Sangha support to that coming into being. So Seminary Anuvedita is also requesting full Bhikkhuni ordination, we hope on the 19th. And also we have here Seminary Therī, the founder of the City Sampano cloister in Germany. She's from Poland, and also she had time in the white robes and dark brown robes, 10 precepts, and then went to Sri Lanka for her seminary Pabaja, supported by the Sri Lankan Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni Sangha more than 2 years ago. And we have here also then Seminary in Kachayana, who is also acting as tech support, so they're going to look enormous. So blessings to you from Dhammadharini, and also they have requested Bhikkhuni ordination and considering about that leading up to this time. And so we'll see whether we have 3 candidates or 4 candidates for Bhikkhuni ordination on September 19th. But we want to all, I think all of us here and from myself, offer our full support for what is most supportive for your path. And I'm so glad that if it's your aspiration and your wish with all of your training, that we'll be able to offer that. And we have also here Seminary Dhammawada. Seminary Dhammawada received Pabaja here during the Vassa last September. So she's not yet 2 years at the seminary, and she's staying here at Aranya Bodhi for the Vassa, and I'm glad to see her really looking so good staying here in the forest during this time. And then we also have, I think you might be able to see there behind Seminary Tisarani and Seminary Dhammawada, we have Venerable Bhikkhu Jayasara, Bhante Jayasara, who is having camping retreat this Vassa on the adjacent mountain. And he's come to join our program, Uposatha program this evening. Bhante Jayasara is like Ayya Sobhana's younger Dhamma brother from the Bhavana Society. Both Ayya Sobhana and Bhante were ordained by Bhante Gunaratana, their teacher and the founder of the Bhavana Society. So that's wonderful to have that connection. And I'm glad, I was thinking earlier, I'm glad to see the forest environment here treating Bhante so well. We haven't had smoke too bad. And fortunately, no wildfires too close so far. And we also have here 3 Anagarikas. Well, the first Anagarika Tavira. And this is who I was telling you from our Dhammadharini community, who is planning on requesting the seminary Pabaja, also on September 19th here. I just want to mention we had planned to have that ordination at our monastery. And we had planned that that would be in our new Dana Sala yurt at the monastery, which earlier we had planned to have constructed by this time, but because of wildfires and pandemic and all of that, the permitting process in Sonoma County is going very slow. So we're shifting and adjusting our plan, and we're hoping that by Katina on October 17th, that we will be able to inaugurate the Dana Sala yurt at the monastery. And in the meanwhile, we are so lucky that we have our hermitage and we have this yurt here, and we can take the skin off and make it temporarily like an open air sala here for the ordination. So this is our big good fortune to be able to have this flexibility. And let's see, Anagarikas, then we also have Anagarika Panyamimurti here, one of our founding 20 friends of Dhammadharini, who has now been living in the Anagarika life for for a while, a good while, we'll say. And glad to see her here this evening for this program. And we also have here Anagarika Siddhinanda, who came together with Samanariti Sarani from Cittānupassana cloister in Germany. Some of you might remember Ayya Suchinta from Dhammadharini's early days. And Ayya Suchinta served as her preceptor for her Anagarika precepts. How long ago? April, okay, yes, on April 11th. And we also, is it okay to show you here? We also have our friend Nekama Jin is here with us as well. And we also have Nekama Cameron here in the forest too. But Cameron's not with us this evening. So hopefully Cameron is having fantastic meditation in the kuti. Besides that, we have many
in quarantine.
In quarantine, yes. Cameron will hopefully be emerging from quarantine without incident in not too long. So then also we have our forest beings, ravens and foxes and mountain lions and so many other beings here in the forest. The redwoods, if you haven't seen them for a couple of years, and some friends were mentioning not having been here for a little while, that the redwoods are growing. And they really are. I think they often grow more than 10 feet or 15 feet each year. So the forest is really growing and maturing. So I am happy to be here and that all of us could be here together for this program on the Exalted States of Mind this evening. I appreciate Ayya Sobhana's hosting and Ayya Phalañānī being willing to join us from, I think it's going to be quite early in the morning in Germany at this time. But there were a couple of speakers on our Dhamma Day, Asala Puja, who we got really good feedback from their very short 5-minute reflection on various aspects of Cittānupassana. And so we invited them back. Ayya Shakya Dhammadina, talking about the Abhidhamma. We invited her back last time, 2 weeks ago. And then also Ayya Phalañānī. So it's really a treasure to be able to support these bhikkhuni Dhamma teachers from around the world. It's a boon of the circumstances that we have right now. So thank you so much, Ayya Sobhana, for hosting this evening. And later on, Ayya Phalañānī for joining with us and speaking with us on the Exalted States of Mind, particularly with the focus on meditation. I just wanted to ask you, Ayya Sobhana, later on, will you be giving a brief biographical introduction to Ayya Phalañānī, or will I be doing that?
I will be.
Oh, sadhu. Okay, Ayya. So nice to see everyone. Glad to see all of you. Happy to see so many Dhamma friends from near and far. And it is a delight to be with you here for this new moon Uposatha Dhamma and meditation program this evening. Now I turn it over to our host, Venerable Bhikkhunī Sobhana Theri.
Thank you. Since you've been introduced to this wonderful group of monastics at the Hermitage, I must also swing my camera around and show the peaceful small group that we have here. We have Ayya Sucitā, who is well known, Ayya Suposatha Theri, who's been with our community for more than a couple of years now, on and off, and a wonderful boon to our community. And then we have Sayalai Maganyani, who is visiting us on a introductory visit. We don't know how long we're going to be seeing you over the years to come. She is a student of Ajahn Kippapanyo, right? Yes. And then here is Anagarika Panyatara, who also has been with us for on and off more than 1 year, right? Previously, you saw a young woman with a beautiful long red hair, and now you see an equally delightful a person in the Anagarika form. So let's come and think about some meditation. The metta meditation, when it's developed to the level of concentration, is a way of gaining access to jhana or gaining access to samma samadhi. And it also is a profoundly protective meditation that enables us to see things as they are, to see dukkha as it is, to see the difficulties in the world without being overwhelmed by them. Making progress in this path. This is a path of happiness, a path of a gladdened mind, a path of bliss, a path of happiness, a path of the happiness of equanimity. And all of those states are developed and supported by that method meditation. So I'd like to invite all of you to come into a good meditation posture, a posture that's comfortable. that's balanced, that has an upright quality, so that if you would take a deep breath, just breathe in long, hold for a minute, and breathe out. You can see that the breath is able to flow easily because of that upright posture. In the same way, the energy in the body, or the chi of the body, is able to flow well when the body is upright. And then within that upright and balanced posture, making the body relax, dropping the shoulders, making the belly soft. If there's any aches or pains or tightness or tension anywhere in the body, just take a few minutes to be with that and to just relax around those states. Feeling the weight of the physical body pressing on the cushion or chair. Feeling the connection with the earth. Sit as you sit on the cushion or your feet on the floor. Feeling the touch of your hands, hands touching the hands or hands on the knee, however the hands are arranged. Feeling that touch point. And before trying to direct the mind towards loving kindness, take a few minutes to just be with this body and mind, just how it is right now. Aware of the body. And aware of the general state of mind. Directing awareness to the sensations in the body. Letting go of any thoughts about the past or tomorrow. Just being in the present moment. There might be some anxiety or upset or something because of the situation. We're all carrying a lot of stress these days. And just think if there's any stress or upset in the heart, acknowledging that with a cool, calm attitude of kindness. Knowing that this is present. Or any other kind of mood or emotion or something that was going on that we brought to this meditation space. Just acknowledging those things with a very kind attitude. Not running away with anything, but just touching with awareness. Letting any disturbance calm down with that touch of awareness. The way an infant or a small child might calm down when being touched or held by the parent. And then bringing the thought of happiness, the thought of kindness, beginning internally, wishing for oneself. May I be well. May I be free from anger. Free from ill will. Free from anxiety. And may I take care of my own happiness. Making your own simple phrase of kindness whatever is meaningful and easy, and bringing the sincere wish, the actual intention. May I really be well. May I really be freed from all anger, freed from all hostility, freed from all anxiety. Making these wishes, these thoughts, or these intentions as sincere as we can. And continuing to repeat these phrases, or a simple phrase of kindness, pronouncing it clearly and aware of the meaning. And if you notice any shift in the feeling tone connected with kindness, notice that very clearly. This is the feeling connected to kindness. It could be mental or physical. May I be well. May I be free from anger, free from hostility, free from anxiety. May I be able to care for my own happiness. And letting the feeling of kindness gently fill and saturate the whole body. Gently filling the entire mental space. The feeling of kindness can be a kind of barometer to let you know that you're still with it, you're still in this practice. So intentionally, you bring up those words and repeat the phrase of kindness intentionally you have the thought of kindness, that wish for your true welfare. And the feeling of kindness comes as a result of that. You're not creating a feeling. You're creating a thought, choosing to think this thought of kindness again and again. And if you can keep the mind there, keep the mind directed for happiness and freedom from those states. Then this feeling may come along and fill the whole body, making the whole body saturated with the feeling of kindness. But if you lose the meditation, if the mind really wanders away, then go back again to be aware of the posture, to be aware of the general state of the body, scanning the sensations, aware of the mood, what it's like right now. Just general vipassana. What's it like when the mind wandered away? And then again, bring back those phrases of kindness and notice what it's like when the mind returns to the thought of kindness for oneself, kindness internally, kindness towards whatever's arising. But if the mind is stable, then let the loving kindness flood the entire zone of awareness. Filling the mind, filling the consciousness. As if the bodily sensations are met with kindness. Every moment of feeling is met with kindness. Every sensation and every thought is met with kindness. The whole field is flooded and saturated with kindness. And letting this thought of kindness go beyond, extending to all beings in every direction, in front or behind or above or below. wishing may all beings be well and happy. May everyone be free from anger. May everyone be free from ill will. May everyone be free from anxiety. May everyone take care of their own happiness. To all as to myself as to all. And then gently emerging from this meditation. Dear friends, if you would like to take 4 minutes to stretch the body if you need to be comfortable. And I see that Ayya Phalañānī is here. So in the next 4 minutes, we'll get her into the scene. Ayya, I made you into a co-host. And then I am putting you into the spotlight. Is it still dark there in Germany? You're muted. There.
Yes, it's still dark here.
Okay.
So you put me into the spotlight, but it won't become brighter than that.
Oh, well. I'm going to put, see if I can do this. Now we have Aneñja Vihara Hermitage there. So if you would like to greet Ayya Tataloka and your colleagues at the Hermitage, there they are.
Yes. Wait a second. You won't only see parts of it, but
May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect by the power of Satipatanas. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Dhammas. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Sangha. May you ever be well. Sadhu, sadhu, Anmoda. Welcome, Ayya. I'm so glad you can join us.
good morning or no, good evening. I'm glad to see you all also. It is so beautiful, so wonderful to see you all there. Although it seems to be dark already at your end, so I'm not able to make out the figures at Aneñja Vihara, but I do see Ayya Sobhana quite clearly and well. So, very good. Yes, much better.
It's now 8 o'clock at night here in California.
Okay.
So the sun did go down.
Okay.
It's just about coming up where you are.
Yeah. So here it's not daylight yet. So I'm also, I can't make it more. I turned all the lights on in the room where I am, so it won't be more. But it's okay, isn't it?
Yes. For those who have not met you before, I want to introduce you, Ayya.
Yes.
Bhikkhunī Ayya Phalañānī was born in 1959 in Germany. You have been a Buddhist for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you were 22 years old, you took a meditation retreat in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first powerful experience. You went back into your lay life and took up a career as an actress and a comedian. And then in 2003, left that career in order to seek your spiritual path. I think there are two big influences that I can remember since I've known you. First, when you went to Thailand, I think that was in 2007, you entered monastic life and you met Ajahn Subhan, who has continued to be one of your chief teachers and mentors in the Chiang Mai area. Yes. You also encountered there in Thailand some of the ambiguities of the Mechi form and the ambiguities of the position of women in relationship to the Bhikkhu Sangha. You learned about the possibility of bhikkhuni ordination. You had some correspondence with Ayatollah investigating the bhikkhuni's Vinaya, and finally came to Aranya Bodhi in 2010. I think that sometime in between there, you also met and made a good connection with the Canadian bhikkhu, Bhante Yuttadhammo, who has also somebody who's quite well known to us and somebody who's a real friend to the bhikkhunis and a friend to that East-West connection of North American culture with the great Theravada traditions. So you were with at our hermitage, having the training and being part of a very sort of, well, it was a wonderful occasion for us. It really was a great ordination that we had in 2010 with 4 women taking the bhikkhuni form. Subsequently, you were in Australia and Sri Lanka. You returned to Thailand. You had a lengthy period of retreat in Chiang Mai at Wat Ming Kunpang in the mountains.
Wat Kunpang.
In Chiang Mai.
The short name is just Wat Kunpang is enough.
So I think you had a 5-year period of really extended meditation time, and it's really the fruit of that I'm hoping to hear about in the next hour. Since 2018, you have returned to your homeland in Germany and taken the position of the abbess at the Aneñja Vihara. And I can show briefly one picture so that people can see. This is your home monastery in Germany, and it's a lovely place, so beautifully supported in the countryside with cows and wood, and it's so green compared with California. Just a wonderful place of practice and a great outpost for the Dhamma.
Yeah. It changed quite a bit.
Yes.
We have a huge Buddha statue now, or much bigger than in that picture, and well, but yeah.
Very good.
It's lovely and green all around. So
Now I'm going to make us get small and make you get large, and invite you to give us some comments, especially about the exalted mind.
So, yes, good morning. And again, greetings to everyone. I'm happy to be with you on this morning, on your evening, and talking about Cittānupassana, and especially about the exalted states of mind is really, well, talking about like a fish talking about dry land, no? It's something that we really experience, the exalted states. We do really experience in the highest forms when we are non-returners from then on. So before that, it's all kind of not that exalted and not that very much kind of, the thing. But of course, we can do Cittānupassana and we can explore our minds and we can become aware what is going on in our minds and very, very clearly learn to distinguish what is going on. First, I want to start with some verses from the Dhammapada that I want to read out to you, and it's in the not in the translation for you, but in the verses written by Thanissaro Bhikkhu about the citta. Like a fish pulled from its home in the water and thrown on land, this mind flips and flaps about to escape Mara's sway. Hard to hold down, nimble, alighting wherever it likes, the mind. Its taming is good. The mind well tamed brings ease, so hard to see, so very, very subtle. Alighting wherever it likes, the mind. The wise should guard it. The mind protected brings ease. Wandering far, going alone. Bodiless, lying in a cave, the mind. Those who restrain it from Mara's bond, they will be freed. These are some verses. Oh, excuse me. I have to open the door for the cat. So, yes, these verses of the Dhammapada, I think it was 34 to 33, are about the state of mind that we have, like flipping and flapping and wandering around, and that is where we come from. And now talking about the exalted states, as I said, it's like a fish talking about dry land. It's hard to see those states of mind, those exalted states of mind. Exalted states of mind are when the mind is highly concentrated, or when the mind is even liberated. These are the exalted states of mind. And when the mind is lust-free and hate-free, delusion-free, and all these things. So we can't really, and I can't really talk about it. I can say what I did to get there. That I can talk about. Because even knowing that we can't get there, maybe even not in this life, we shall never give up the idea of it being possible to get there, even in this life. Because we can observe our minds. We can go ahead and do things about it to become one of those people who can really experience those unsurpassable minds, those concentrated minds, and those liberated minds even. So these exalted states, although they are very, very subtle and hard to find, we should never give up on thinking and on trusting that they are in reach for us, because otherwise we would never try to reach them. We would never try to get there. And that is one thing that my teachers in Thailand encouraged me to do. That's why I'm very, very grateful to them. I did one thing in my not so very subtle mind when I came there into their meditation center in Wat Lampung. I wrote into the form that you sign when you reach. I wrote to the question, why are you coming to meditate here? I wrote, because I want to become an arahant. And that was true. I wanted to become an arahant. And they took it serious. They didn't think that I'm just a stupid Westerner who does not know what she's talking about. But they really took it serious, and they made me meditate. So similar to the Tibetan traditions, I had 3 years and a half almost, with, I have to admit, breaks in between, where I had to go to the 90-day report and do certain things that have to be done. But I had to meditate. And when I reported, I had to go to report every day to check in with Ajahn, and just a few minutes, sometimes he just saw me and said, go away, more effort. And when I said I did less than 12 hours per day, he was really upset and said, that's not enough for one who wants to become enlightened. And so I was kind of blamed and shamed and sent away, and other people were watching. So it was not a one-on-one report. It was one-on-one, but there were always people around. So those waiting in line to have the next report were also in line. So it was always like, you can't get there with at least 14 hours of meditation. Otherwise, you're the loser, kind of, no? So there was, on the one end, there was a bit of a pressure, but on the other side, there was also that great support and that great love of the teachers and that trust, and really to know that they took me serious on what I, in my really not exalted, but overestimating mind said I want to do. And I learned it the hard way, that it's not that easy to find. But I also learned that there is one thing that one, when one enters the path, shall not do, and that is to give up, ever. So once you enter the path and think, I want to go ahead and I want to strive with diligence, as the Buddha said, you shall never give up and try. You shall never lose the idea that it's possible. And if you really dedicate your life to it, that will even carry you through the difficult times, through the times that are like being a fish on dry land, flipping and flapping and not getting anywhere, because that would be most of the time when you're trying to become enlightened. It would be most of the time not easy and not being fulfilling and not being enlightened, and walking these little, like, nano steps, not even mini steps, but very, very small steps to come ahead. And it's very important that we know that every single second of practice, that every single nano step that we do leads us where we need to get, where we strive to get. So there is no giving up. There are maybe excursions around because we are who we are and we can't do otherwise, but never ever stop going the path, even if you do U-turns and U-turns and even if you realize at one point, whoa, I have gone so much astray and I have gone so far away from what I strived for. I don't know, but yeah, I have gone very far away from that. Even then, you just adjust your direction and continue. And if you fall, you just get up and continue striving. That is the most important, I think, for us nowadays, because it's not anymore like then in the times of the Buddha, when they sat down for a week like Moggallana, or sit down for 2 weeks like Sariputta, and strive and become enlightened after that. Or just hearing a little phrase uttered by the Buddha and become enlightened. So it's not that easy for us anymore, but having the trust that it's still possible makes us go, makes us start. And then, as I said, just continue. Just continue going on. And I remember when I was there in that little monastery in Konpang, I tried, and also I tried when I was in Wat Lampung, I tried to do really Cittānupassana, only observing the mind, so that I could see every single detail in my mind. And what happened? What happened was that I ran into door frames, that I ran into people and fell down because I was so much intended. I had too much intention of doing it and too high of a concentration. So that brings us to the next trap or the next thing that could become an obstacle for us on the path. When we're striving, as I said before, and never giving up, that is one thing. But when we do strive too much and try too hard, that's also a thing that doesn't get us anywhere. So you remember the simile of the lute, where the Buddha said that one has to practice with the mind well adjusted. With the mind not too tight and not too loose. And I think that most people in Asia are probably on the loose end, whereas we Westerners are most probably on the too tight end. And it's always the middle way. It's always being just right. And for me, this also concerns concentration and awareness. So samadhi and sati, which are when we are observing the mind states and doing Cittānupassana, are existential. So we can't do without them. So we have concentration, samadhi, and we have sati, awareness. And I found out that when you want, for example, go towards a door, I have one right here, so I want to go there. And I look at it. And when I look at the doorknob, too concentrated, very concentrated, everything else disappears. the surroundings disappear. The table and the orchids on the table, they disappear. And I can see only the doorknob. That's great, that feels great, and that feels like a great achievement. To concentrate that much that everything disappears, but I don't see the table and the orchids and things that are in my way. And when I want to get up and open the door, I will stumble upon them and fall. And on the other hand, with awareness and not enough concentration, I will see, oh, here's this little thingy. Oh, how nice that is. Oh, here's that's a mistake here. It's done wrongly. Oh, I need to water the orchids. I see every little thing, but I forget about the doorknob and that I wanted to get there. So, with both together, balanced in the right measure, I can see, well, here's a table that has nice parts and ugly parts. There are orchids that at one point need to be watered, but now I need to go to the door and open it. And that's why I need to walk around the table. And when I have concentration and awareness, just right adjusted, then I can do that without any problem. The problems arise when I focus too much on one thing, either on awareness or on concentration. So even when we want to do Cittānupassana, which is a good thing to do, we need to do it in a way that allows us to get around, to see other things also, so that we won't fall and stumble around. And that when we see one thing in our mind, when we can observe one thing in our mind, that then we are able to let the connections happen with the other anupassanas. Because they are working all together. It's not that one thing. It's working all together. The four Satipatanas. I think I don't need to talk too much about the Satipatana Sutta because you heard about it and you talked about it already. So just said as much as these four Satipatanas of observing the body, observing the feelings, observing the mind, and observing the Dhammas, which are the hindrances, and later the Bojjhangas. These are so very much intertwined and working together that we should not separate them, but allow them to coexist, to observe them when they arise. I have in mind to say some words about the words as I understand them, so that we know what we are talking about. For example, the chitta, I was now saying always mind, but for me, chitta is very much more the heart or the heart mind. And I take it as mental states. You know, feelings and thoughts they are very brief, they are very short and changing very quickly, whereas mental states, chittas, are those who are more not established in a way, but who are our tendencies, which have come into being because of our tendencies, because we do incline in one direction. So when we are often angry, and when we react in anger, we have the tendency to the next thing that occurs to us to react in anger also. Means that our tendency towards anger is deepening, and is deepening with every little mind or heart moment that we react in anger. It is becoming more and more inclined into that direction. And at the end, we will have a heart full of anger, a chitta full of anger. Chitta can have various translations. I don't want to go too much into detail about Abhidhamma because I remember that you had a Dhamma talk about that already. So just one more thing, that chitta can also be translated as being a colorful painting, or being something beautiful or colorful. And when we see our chitta as a colorful painting, then we really understand what we have to deal with here. Something like really, if we want to have that pure and clean, we have to get rid of all those colors. You remember the sutta where the Buddha is talking about the mind tainted by those colors. If you put the colors into the water will be of that color. So we have to take the colors out and purify the waters, clean the waters. The hindrances, there is another sutta where the Buddha talks about the hindrances, the nivarana. And like having an angry mind is like a rough water. And don't want to go into much detail with that at that point. Then when we talk about Cittānupassana, there's also the word anupassana. And that could be translated in looking at or viewing, contemplating, considering, or realization. What? Anicca, dukkha, anatta. That's what we shall observe or see in the things. See clearly. That is what is vipassana, seeing clearly about these things. And we shall see these things with wisdom as they really are. And then we come to pure states of mind. And the Buddha talks about it in Majjhima Nikaya number 1, in the Mula Pariyaya Sutta, and also in the Bahya Sutta. And he says the scene is just the scene. The herd is just the herd. The cognized is just the cognized. And those are pure states of mind. These are pure chittas. There is nothing else apart from what is. There are no colors in that anymore. There are no disturbances anymore. That is just pure, the things as they really are. Then we have to deal with, probably heard about it, cetasikas, the mental factors that usually arise together with those mind states. And those are the things who define the character of our mind states. So maybe I'm working on, or maybe I intend a meritorious deed and want to help someone. And out of compassion. That would be an intention, a cetana, an active thought, an intention or a purpose. So I want to do a meritorious deed. But the underlying tendency of me wanting to do so is because I have an aversion for seeing suffering. I just feel so bad and I don't want to feel bad. So I feel the urge to do something about it. In the end, it's a good result. But there is also, like a cetasika, an accompanying factor, which is unwholesome in that case, an aversion of seeing suffering. And that's unwholesome, although the outcome in total is wholesome when we do, in fact, do the meritorious deed. So when we do combine those words, citta and anupassana, we have something like observing or contemplating the heart or the mental states. And we need to do that, as I said, with sati, awareness, and with samadhi. But there is one thing that comes before. That is sila. When we really want to purify the mind, if you have a muddled sila, if your sila is not well, your mind won't be pure. It can't become pure. So you need to have a pure mind. You can make mistakes. You can even break your rules. That is not the point. But the pure sila is your intentions are pure. That you live your rules, your 5, your 8, your 10, your 227 or 300 elf. You live them with the best intentions and with the purest heart ever. And if you happen to fail in them, then with a pure heart, you intend to to become purer next time, to do better. Because if you start blaming yourself for not being perfect, if you start blaming yourself for having done a mistake, the mind is not pure. It won't get you anywhere. So you really need to drop all that and just do with a sila whatever you can in that very moment. It's from moment to moment to moment to moment. You can't do these things in advance. You can't have a pure mind and a pure sila in future. You just need to do it now. And then the next now. You just every moment try and intend to have a pure mind, a pure heart. And with that, we start. With that, we can have sati, and we can bear what we see when we have sati. With a pure mind, we can look at our ugly sides. We can see our heart, and for sure, we will encounter ugly sides. There is no way that we don't. And it can be scary, it can be frightening when we see them. I was running around before I practiced, before I became a nun, thinking I was a good person. I was a good person, but I had very bad mind states. I could get so angry, I could slam doors and throw plates, and I wanted that. I thought that's life. And I enjoyed doing it. And it didn't occur to me that this was possibly bad. I just thought, well, that happens, even to a good person. It does. Of course it does. But we have to let go of it and transform it and not continue with these things. And then when we look with sati into our mind as seeing all these ugly things that we have, sometimes we shy away. We don't want to see it. And that is why it's so important what I said at the very beginning, to be to not ever shy away from what we see, to never give up. And sila makes it so much easier when we see, okay, now this is a pure moment. I didn't do any wrong. This is a good moment. I didn't do any wrong. And you observe your heart and you can purely say, well, I didn't do any wrong. So then it's easy to observe. It's much easier to observe than when you see, I did it again and I wanted to do it. So then you just look at your hindrances. And if that's what it is, then you need to watch it, of course. But best with a pure heart, not judging. That is the next thing that I want to point out. You never, ever judge, neither yourself nor others. Do not judge anything and anyone, because that is also not pure. You remember we wanted to come to the states when seeing is just seeing, hearing is just hearing. It's not, oh, that pure baby is crying, or oh, that stupid person is yelling again, or that, oh, that lovely song. No, it's just hearing. Or it's just seeing. And when we see and just see and look into our heart, then we know what to do about it. If what we see turns out to be something unjust or not right, then we can do something about it with a pure heart, without anger. But if we judge and see something that we don't like or what is unjust, we do something about it, but with anger or with our reaction to it. So we need to drop that. We do not follow after our ideas, our thoughts, our things that we make up about what we see in that very moment. We just see the moment as it is. And let it go and turn towards the next moment. I wanted to mention also that there is Majjhima Nikaya, for example, 100 and 107, or Majjhima Nikaya 39. They are giving us examples of the way that when we come from being a householder, understanding that this life is narrow and tightening and not good for us. The first thing is that is said, we need to learn to be ethical. And then the Buddha says, the next thing is to guard the sense doors. Then things like being moderate, eating in moderation, for example. But being moderate, being wakeful is the next. And then practice walking meditation and sitting meditation, purifying your mind, purifying the chittas from all the obstacles. That means purifying the mind from the hindrances, from the nivaranas. And then the practice starts. Here he says in 107, the Buddha says, come mendicant, have mindfulness and situational awareness. Act with situational awareness when going out and coming back. It's the same text more or less than in the Satipatanas Sutta. So it says, be aware of what is happening every single moment, even when standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, speaking, keeping silent. And then we need to retire to find a secluded place. And then sit down cross-legged with our body straight, and establish mindfulness, giving up the desire for the world. With a heart rid of desire, cleansing the mind or the heart of desire, giving up ill will and malevolence, meditating with a mind rid of ill will, full of compassion for all living beings, cleansing the mind of ill will, giving up dullness, giving up restlessness and remorse. Giving up doubt. So giving up the hindrances and the corruptions of the heart that weaken our wisdom. And then we can enter the deeper states. Before that, we can't, because the mind is not pure enough. We can momentarily, and we can strive. As I said, we can always strive. But we need to remember that when we have moments of clear comprehension, when we understand something, or we experience a moment of a really pure mind, a heart full of loving kindness, or that is not the end of the practice. That is not the goal. The goal is Nibbana. And we should continue, as is said in the sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 111. Sariputta said there, and the Buddha kind of boosted around and told the other bhikkhus about Sariputta and his great practice. So this is very inspiring to me, this sutta. And it becomes clear that even those states of which we think, wow, great, I have experienced such a deep state of jhana or whatever, even those need to be transcended and let go of. And to continue striving and to get out of those deep states, to always check what is going on in our hearts. So, yes, I remember I wanted to talk about the meditation, the walking meditation, because I found out that the walking meditation that we do in that method of Mahasi Sayadaw, or in the method of Ajahn Tong, is helping very much with Cittānupassana. That is the first step of the walking meditation, is like you stand. I try to, let me see if I can do. So you stand there. The hands would be my feet now. You stand there. And you stand there because you want to do walking meditation. So you had the intention already. With that intention to walk, you stand there and you name it. Standing. 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 Then, because you don't want to stand there, but to do walking meditation, you raise the intent again. So you say intention to walk. Intention to walk. Intention to walk. And then what we do in the first step is to observe how the intention or an impulse that is coming from that intention is getting into our foot. We do not move the foot yet. So we just observe by saying right. We are observing the right foot and observing how the impulse or how the intention is getting there. And once we know it's gotten there, we can move the foot. And say, name, for example, goes thus. Left. Nothing moves when saying, just the mind observing how the intention gets there. Then when we know it's there, goes thus. So this first step of the walking meditation brings our mind to see our intentions. And this, in regard to Cittānupassana, is very helpful. Very, very helpful. Because you incline your mind, so to say, to look at your intentions. To look what is going on in your mind and in your heart. So, and one last thing to say is I'm not a friend of naming the things, but I do it because I learned that it is good. I still have an aversion for it. I can't help it. But I do it because it is so helpful. It really makes us see what is going on. Much clearer and much easier, much faster. And when you name, when you say, for example, angry, angry, angry all the time, and you hear yourself saying that, you can't say, well, no, I'm not an angry person. I could do that years and years when I didn't know the naming, when I didn't do the naming. But once I started, I couldn't say anymore, no, there is no anger. So and all these things that we have in our hearts will occur, obviously, always. And once we name them and we hear ourselves saying what there is, good or bad, then, well, we know. I have no idea how long I was speaking, but I finish now.
Sadhu, Sadhu, sadhu. Ayya, your timing is perfect. We've come to the 9 o'clock time when people with a short attention span who want to just go because it's 9 o'clock, they can go. But if any would like to stay a few minutes longer, if you're willing to stay longer, there might be some questions or comments that any others would like to give. So let's open that up. And in particular, I'm going to come back to Aranya Bodhi and see if any of the monastics over there have a comment or a question. I would just say for myself that I will never forget the metaphor of the doorknob. And you've given some lovely contemporary and personal illustrations of some of these concepts to make them vivid. That's a really good teaching. And I also so much appreciate your telling a bit of the story of the long retreat and making it real and being so honest and sincere with your experience that you had there. So now, here is the hermitage, and if they would like to unmute themselves, they can. If anybody there has a question or a remark to make. Others who would like to ask a question, if you would like to type a question into the chat, that will make I will be able to see you and know that you have a question.
There is one question from, oh, yes. Go ahead, please, Ayya.
I think I was going to, you're seeing the question in the chat? I was just
yes.
Going to
but I didn't read it yet. I was about to read it, and I think the bhikkhuni who spoke last Uposatha is most probably more, to answer that question.
Yes.
I have a rough idea about Abhidhamma and these things, and I learned that these are 70. A thought process is like 17 thought moments, and with bhavangas and the jhavanas in the end determining the outcome, so to say. But I really shouldn't go into much detail about it because there are people who are more experts in Abhidhamma. Sorry for that.
Shall I ask something?
Yes, if you please, yes.
Wow. So I know that you've studied not only with Ajahn Supan, but also with Lumpur Thong, the late Most Venerable. And I'm interested in what his teaching was about Cittānupassana, and particularly with the Exalted States.
As far as I understood, the teaching was always all four Satipatanas, never only one. His teaching was to observe always the body, the feelings, the heart, and the mind objects. And he was not teaching, not mentioning, for example, the jhanas, exalted states in that case. But of course, he knew, as everybody should, that enlightenment is not possible without. And but he wanted to avoid that people want to sit in the jhanas only. He wanted to get us beyond that. So he was talking a lot about upekkha. And in those courses that we did with Ajahn Supan or Ajahn Tong, we always experience several mind states and several jnanas, several states of knowledge that we go through. And in the end of the retreat, we would come, hopefully, and we would intend to come to upekkha. That would be called Sankharupekkha. And if you take upekkha from the jnanas, or if you take upekkha as a fourth jhana, that would be the same. Upekkha is upekkha. There are no two types or several types of upekkha. So if you develop upekkha, you can go further. You can go towards enlightenment. If you don't come to upekkha by any means, then you can't go further. You can't really experience the exalted states. And so the take of Ajahn Tong would always be to downplay these things like the exalted states, not to make a fuss about them, and to be happy when you experience, and to strive when not. I think that's in brief.
Thank you for sharing that. I, having worked with this teaching and practice related to upekkha, how would you best like to translate that into English or German?
In German, I would say Gleichmut. And in English, well, the translation that I learned would be equanimity. And that is an equanimity about all formations. May that be mental formations, may that be physical formations, about anything at all. Just being equanimous about it. And not judge, not get involved in anything to change, for example, or to, that.
Can I ask a simple question? Shobhana?
Yes.
This is Priya. Please go ahead.
According to Anapana, 16 steps, and Satipatana 4 foundation, I like to be in 24/7 mindfulness meditation. So sleeping, eating, even I drive mindfully. So yesterday night when I was slept, I caught by sleep and I started to see a dream. And cinema is going on, and I saw some incidents happens which make me irritated. So I saw this is the first time I was saying myself, hey Priya, anger is arising in you. And all on a sudden, I came out of my sleep, and then gradually I going to the posture of sleep. And then I still a little bit try to go into the mindfulness. Well, that chitta is gone. And I didn't try to follow, but I had still a question if somebody can tell me or, giving me a kind of state of mind I'm going through.
Mm. Well, it seems you have a mind well trained, so that even in your dreams, you can observe the mind, and that even in your dreams, you can kind of practice. That is wonderful. We all could do it. It's possible. Like, it's sometimes we know that when we have something important to do and we know we need to get up early, like say 4 o'clock, and we are excited about it and have the strong idea about needing to get up, then we can. We even wake up without alarm before 5 minutes before 4 o'clock. And thus we can train our mind to even practice in our sleep. And when you see things there and can name them and can know them, that is a great thing to do. There is, as far as I know, a Tibetan practice who is working with just that. That's a highly developed practice as far as I know. So I don't know any teacher who is teaching it in Theravada, but I know it's possible. You can do. And so there is nothing wrong with it. And there is nothing to fear about it or nothing to be proud about it. It's just your mind can do these things if it's well trained.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Another listener is Tsunma Karma Serpa. Do you have a question that you would like to give?
I wanted to share something about naming. Recently, well, I guess it was June or May, I was in a retreat with someone named Jeff Oliver. And he was a monk for 9 years at some point. I can't say when, because he doesn't say. He's in Australia. He teaches meditation and forgiveness and mindfulness from his book. So that's the background of him. So I think next to the last session, he taught this naming. He said, teach it in Burma or Myanmar. When he was there, he was with about 4 teachers there. So I try it when I'm sitting, and I had to get up at 3 because it's Malaysia time. And I noticed itching. So I start to name it. and I almost like was jumping out of my body. I mean, it became painful, but I use naming now and have been since then, and it showed me I lose patience, and I want to help somebody with my words or advice. Itching, it's an itch, you know. I want to scratch the itch, and I learned so much from that naming. So I never heard anyone else say it besides him. Now you. So this is good. This is good to confirm that it's a very useful practice. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's easy to have an aversion for it because it brings so much up of the bad that you have within you, or in my case at least. So I really had a strong dislike about it in the very beginning. Now it's only a slight dislike because I learned it's so useful and helpful. But yeah, and the dislike is not because because of the practice. It's just because I'm not pure and not rid of dislike yet. So it's not the fault of the practice, let's say.
Right, yes. Because what I'm saying is I want to help someone too much. And I notice it's this itching feeling. I have to help someone or something. So it's calmed me down to look at that. Do they really need that help? And sometimes they really don't want it, but I'm still like, knocking on the door. And in other things as well, other habits. It's really good.
If there's not another question, I think the people at the Hermitage have got a big group with strong voices. So is there a question at the Hermitage? Another comment or question from there?
Yes, thank you. Ayya Phalañānī, you had mentioned that with regards to the exalted states, they may not be truly experienced until the state of non-returner, if I heard that correctly.
Yes, I said that.
I had never heard or read that before. So I was wondering what was the source for that.
Well, I can't tell you any. Just what I experienced and thought, and I was talking about it the other day with a monk, and the really exalted states. I mean, like a mind freed. Is nibbana. So exalted states, as far as I understand it, is like something that we can experience nice states and good states and feel exalted, But those really exalted states of high concentration, of being free of anger, being free of delusion, being free of lust, and so these are, I mean, that's nibbana. So
do you mind a little discussion about it?
pardon me?
Would you mind a little discussion about it?
No, if you have the time, my day starts. You get it.
So my understanding is that even before stream entry, a person can experience properly all 8 jhanas, even before stream entry. And with stream entry, a person rightly and properly, truly sees Nibbana, the deathless.
Yes, but I think the point is that you cannot live those things as a putujana. So you can experience for brief moments by chance some exalted states, and if you see Nibbana, you become a stream enterer, at least. But even then, you are not permanently free of those states of mind or states of heart where the mind is muddled and where the heart is full of avidya and it's not that pure. It's purer and more exalted maybe than from the ordinary worldling, but not as pure and not as exalted in the living, in daily life, say, as it might be of one who is more experienced and have that longer. And
Thank you for sharing.
yeah, it was Ajahn Chatamalo talking about that, and he said his masters of the forest tradition are also saying that the real exalted states can only be experienced or lived by somebody who is a non-returner. So before that it would be, and that is now my part on it, before that it would be only for moments or not as exalted.
Little control.
Dhammadharini also has a question.
Yes.
I'm going to ask if they could move the camera or the mic over so that Anagarika Dhammadharini, is the Brahmavara, can,
I have Dhammadharini.
okay.
Or comment.
I'm just moving a bit closer to the mic. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for your talk. It was very far-ranging and really useful, and I appreciated your similes very much. I wanted to ask you about, do you think that the Brahma Viharas are exalted states? Would you include them in that category? And if so, can you speak a little bit about your metta practice and your sense of the benefits of developing the Brahmaviharas consciously and using them as part of our kind of toolkit for practice? Thank you.
Yes, the Brahmaviharas are certainly exalted states, and there's the Kakachupama Sutta, where the Buddha explains how we can use them and how we can practice them. There are other suttas as well, but I don't remember their numbers now. So these are exalted states, and they are exalted for a normal person in a way, and the more we advance on the path, the more exalted they would be. I would think I would have metta, for example, far inferior. I don't like to speak about inferior or how is that word again? Superior. So, but in that case, I would say my metta practice is certainly far more inferior than that of an arahant. Although I do practice metta and feel very much that this is an exalted state of my mind. So it is exalted, but to some extent, you know, there is open end, most probably. There is far more possible than I could ever imagine now. So what I can do now is to do what I can, to practice what I know and what I understand so far. And that is to combine it actually with the practice of naming. So let me find the right words. With the naming, you can, well, you start to look into into your heart, or I start to look into my heart. And of course, if metta is not there, or compassion is not there, I need to name what is there. And by seeing it and naming it, I can drop it. I can let go of, for example, anger or frustration or whatever is there. Once I name it, I can let go of it. That is another benefit of the naming practice. When you name one thing, if you name thinking, for example, there can either be the thought or the word thinking. They cannot be both at the same moment. And that's the power of that practice. So when you have let go of what was there, and you are a little bit experienced in developing metta, then you can implement, so to say, with right samavayamo, right effort, I think it's called in English. You can implement, you can put into place what you need. In that case, that would be metta, for example. And then you can name that. And this, you won't drop. You would just keep it there and name it again. So like that, you can use that method of clearing the path towards loving kindness and to implement or put it into place then.
I think Priya had a question about Kanika Samadhi.
I have two questions. Can I add one more thing? Kanika Samadhi, and before Kanika Samadhi, a person who has wrong views, can that one be treated as exalted? A person who has wrong views,
Can certainly
that one be
not
treated?
be treated as exalted, can have moments of exalted mind, certainly, to some extent. Okay. But as long as wrong views, say, are dominant in that person, the exalted states are not dominant, obviously.
Kanika Samadhi can be treated as an exalted moment, as an exalted Kanika Samadhi.
Yes, if it's pure, if the moment is pure, then yes, because Kanika Samadhi can be very pure, even if it's only short and not apamana. But it can be pure. And there can be a brief moment of pure samadhi experienced, although it might not be long.
Now, I have my question.
Yes.
It seems to me that from all that you're saying, if we could only become more capable of just knowing what's going on with the heart and mind, having the discernment and a few concepts to be able to name these different states of mind. Because a lot of times, to the extent that we haven't developed a practice, we just have all these experiences and then we don't know how to even remember them because we don't know how to identify them. And so it seems to me that part of it is having the clarity to be able to put a tag on the different states.
Yes. Not only a tag, but a clear tag, a tag without judgment, a tag without price, so to say. But just the knowing of what is. And in the beginning, the best is we really name it. Mm-hmm. To understand it. I don't say that we need to do this always, like forever until the last breath, but it's so much helpful to have some clarity of what is going on in our minds, that I would say, yes, for where we are, this is one of the best things that we can do. Well, I speak for myself, I should.
Well, I know that time is going by, and I want to have enough time to give a nice closing blessing to us all. In particular, we have one good friend of our community who's having a birthday today. Her name is Mala, and I think that those of us at Dhammadharini are putting a special offer of the merit of tonight. We did a good merit when we practiced together in meditation, and we did another good merit when we listened to a Dhamma talk, and more good merits when we discussed the Dhamma. And so let all those merits help our friend Mala to be safe, peaceful, joyful, and to have progress and reach every benefit in her path of practice. And I would like to invite, since there's many strong voices in that yurt, if the Aranya Bodhi people would chant a brief closing blessing.
So we would like to chant the Karunya Metta Sutta, the Buddha's words on loving kindness, in English as a special blessing for our friend Mala, who is one of the main supporters of our Vassa time practice, and also the Vassa Uposatha Program during the Vassa this year. And also one of those that pledged the offering of the Katina today on her birthday. We want to send every good blessing to her, and then also to any and all of our friends who may be in need of blessings and able to receive them far and wide, whether human or not human, whether already born or still to be born, in whatever state they may be, for Mala and for all. We share these blessings, and if anyone knows this chant and would like to chant along, please have your microphone on mute, and you're welcome to join in the chanting together. The Buddha's words on loving kindness. Now let us chant the Buddha's words on loving kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later improve, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, freed from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime ideal. I'm upholding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu.
So we want to express our anumodana to Venerable Bhikkhunī Ayya Phalañānī, for sharing this reflection on Cittānupassana and the exalted states with us, whether evening or morning, anywhere and all around the world, and in all world. Thank you very much, Ayya, for joining us, and we want to send our loving kindness and our blessings to all the monastic community at Aneñja Vihara in the Bavarian Alps in Germany, from all of us here in your old place, your old seat here at Oranyabuli Hermitage, and to all of our Dhamma sisters and all the living beings there. Thank you, and anumodana.
Thank you so much for having me, and all the best to all of you. And I hope to see you all again one day in person, but looking forward to see you at least at the 19th or so for some women higher ordination. All the best. Blessings to all of you.
All the blessings. Ayya, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, everybody, for your participation and your patient listening. This is the conclusion of tonight's special Uposatha program.
Thank you, Ayya. Sadhu, sadhu.